Merry Meet, Annie here. Okay, so you're probably wondering, why is she starting a video with a picture of a bed? Well, I wanted to share with those of you who were quite interested to know, in the move to the beach, I did lose my altar room, the room I had in our former home, which was dedicated to me, to my meditations, to my altar, the place where I would gather with witchy friends. Well, that's gone now. And in our new home, which is a small home and only has 2 bedrooms, I have had to be creative in finding space for that private part of my practice and a place where perhaps I will be able to gather with witchy friends going forward. So I'm showing you the bed because, first and foremost, it's a guest bedroom. So if you were staying with me, you would be in this space. As you can see, it's not a big room, but it's a nicely sized room. And as we come around, you'll be able to see the area that I have created for myself. And I'll show you that more from another direction. I'm actually quite pleased with it. It really has worked out quite nicely. Let me come to the other side of the room and I'll show you a little bit more about how I've been able to set things up for myself. I'm now on the back side of the room by the bed, looking over at the space that I was able to create. And it worked out quite nicely. I was able to place a new altar here. I'll explain it to you just a little bit, with all of the paintings and the pictures that matter the most to me. And of course, Ome, my drum. The only thing I bought new, because mostly I was getting rid of things, is this new stool for myself. It's getting harder and harder for this old witch to get down on the floor. And then over here, a bookshelf. The only bookshelf that I really retained in this room. The bottom of the bookshelf holds my resin incenses and some boxes of things like my cards and things that I work with. One of the things I did give up moving here was my large collection of botanicals. I gave them to a friend, and the reason is I really don't have the space to keep them. I really don't have the money to add anything more to it or even replace things as they were used. So I decided to go back to the simplicity of using favorite resins and keeping a small supply. A couple of books that I've kept out because I tend to go them every now and then. My stone spheres, which as you all know I work with a lot. And instead of on my altar, which is smaller now, my statue of the gods are on top of this bookshelf. They've been all over the house at different times, not always exactly on my altar, but always nearby. So this actually worked out pretty good. I'm going to back up so you can see the altar space, the top of the altar. I'm going to stick this on a tripod so it stops jiggling, and I will share a little bit with you what is on my altar. Okay, so here we go. This altar, you'll recognize the way I set my altar up if you are a regular viewer, because I do only use 2 altar settings, which have to do with the dark and the light halves of the year. I don't redecorate my altar for every season that goes by. So this is my dark altar setting, which always comes out about sometime between Maybone and Samhain. The centerpiece of it is my witch's mirror, which I use until the light side of the year begins again, as my preferred method of divination for the dark time of the year. I was able to create more space on what is actually a much narrower and not as deep altar as what I had before. The altar that I had before was a family cedar chest. It's actually a coffee table out in our living room now, and it's doing quite nicely there. It's been a coffee table in some of its previous incarnations, and it's returned to that. This was actually a piece that was left behind by the previous homeowners. It was a media center. What is really convenient about it when space is the issue in these small houses is that below are 2 layers of shelves. So I have baskets that hold the things that I work with the most, which are right handy right underneath of that for me. And then the working surface of the altar is not so different than the way I set up previously. Obviously, one of the things that's different is there is a little metal stand that runs across here. That gave me the ability to raise up the candles to the god and the goddess, and my statue and my candle for Hestia, to give me a little bit more elbow room to work on the altar space itself. So that worked out rather nicely for me. Over here is a spice cabinet, which has now been converted into a container for the mixture of resins that I will create and use going forward. I plan on honing in and using only certain resins in a pattern of repetition as part of my practice at this point. I've done that before when I was, as I am now, counting my pennies and also limited on the sources I have to use for incense. As I mentioned, I did give away everything I had for making my mixtures when we moved down here to the beach. I'm very happy with that decision. The person who has them deserved them. They were meant to be for her, and I'm very happy that they have a home with her. I needed to simplify. I don't have the space or the private area that I had before to be up to my eyeballs in witchy concoctions, so things have become much simpler. Sophia, of course, lives in her spot on my altar as she always has, along with my crystal owl and my little mini statue of Parvati, who is one of my two matrons. My cauldron lives back here. My patens are here with elemental representations around them. And my bell, my stones that I work with the most often, and my incense jar are over here on the right-hand side. At the top, of course, is my statue to Hestia and her candle in front of that. To the left of the witch's mirror, over here, is my chalice and two little glass bottles who represent two people who I am particularly missing as I have transitioned into this new life. Above the altar, I have my picture of Hestia on the right, a picture of some owls that Roger made me, a painting which also represents Hestia and her bright fire, the beautiful painting of Parvati that Annika did for me, Ome, my drum, my picture of the moon over the swamps outside of Charleston, always a moving representation of the dark times to me. And down here, a painting which was done by an artist from the islands who was representing a thunderstorm, and in the thunderstorm she was representing Yemaya, and when I saw the painting it was not entitled Yemaya, but it is what I felt, and when I mentioned it to her she did let me know that that is indeed what the painting represented. And over to the right of the bookshelf is the music stand that actually holds my Book of Shadows when I am working with it, and my second drum, which I don't play so much now that I have Ome in my life. And if we come around behind here, this little table here is the one that I actually there's a camera tripod in the way. We'll move that. This little table here is the one that I set up to do any current workings on, because the new altar space is kind of small, so it will be used a lot. I simply place it in front of the altar and work on it from there. Ernie is very happy with the new space because he has a bed to lay on whenever he is attending me. Yes, you're going to keep hearing the snores, but as soon as I come in the room now, that's where the old man goes, right on the bed to take a snooze, so you won't miss out on hearing his noises in the background. So there you go. That was a little bit of a tour of my current altar space, how things have changed since I came to the new house. I'm actually quite happy with this space. This will give you an idea. Let me get on my little stool and show you when I am seated, the environment that I'm working with. Seated at my new altar, I truly have everything I need right at my fingertips. It's worked out very, very well, and I'm so happy because I was challenged with working within the new space. So I guess I was practicing, as I have preached to those of you who have asked me how you create that corner in your life that is your sacred space. And indeed, that is what this space has become to me. I wanted to share it with you because so many of you had questions on what was going to happen now that I didn't have that altar room that you've all come to know so well by watching me do my previous videos in it. Welcome to my new sacred space.